Ooh, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 121 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, the incomparable Zach Jones, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother from the same mother, Lester Jones.
Hello, everybody.
Maybe talking to the mic.
Hello, everybody.
Jesus. And of course, it wouldn't be our show if we didn't have the ninth wonder, Chocolate Thunder, taking Dumpkins and getting Blumkins. Step aside the Batman and make way for the Scat Man. Nothing makes him moan like a rusty trombone. The phenomenal A.J. Singh.
Man, I wouldn't even want a Blumpkin. That sounds disgusting. Both people who take part in that are disgusting.
What is the mindset of either person in that exchange? How could you, if you're the receiving end, how could you just not be, incredibly just feeling, ashamed and guilty and horrible?
It's almost got to be like a BDSM thing. Like, one person likes to dominate and the other one likes to take it, right?
I guess. But, I mean, even when you're dominating, you're still smelling your own shit. It's disgusting.
I want to know where the term Blumkin came from. Is that a German thing? They're into scat stuff.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Blumkin.
The entomology of Blumpkin.
We'll have to dig into that and get that. Well, we all did watch the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, but we'll review that at the end in case anyone hasn't seen it and is maybe leery of spoilers. Man, did you guys watch anything else this week?
I watched a Netflix movie last night. I was trying to find the name of it, but I can't right now. I'll look for it. But it was a Korean movie. It was an American and Korean movie. Essentially, the main character is an American citizen whose mom was from Korea, who moved to America, and they had a difficult life. And it's basically the nightmare of anybody who's second generation American, or because they're being haunted by their first generation parents who are disappointed in them.
Oh, jeez. And guy's jerking off and his dead mom comes in.
It's stereotypical because angry East Asian parent, and kid who's let it go. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I've changed and everything. But it was just I felt like it was very targeted.
I was surfing around Netflix the other day and I noticed a lot of maybe because it's a Squid Game success, but I noticed a lot of Asian language shows on there and movies and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move. Because my sister started watching a show on there that's a Egyptian. I think it's called Paranormal or something like that. And I think they're starting to get really good content from other countries and putting it in all in one place where you can start watching international shows that are good instead of just the same crap they've been pouring out that's been American shows but low budget, low quality. So I mean, I don't know, maybe they're headed in that direction. If they are, I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, you might as well capitalize on it and get the best programming from other countries that we don't know about.
And it's probably cheaper to make in other countries also. So.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they can probably make it a lot cheaper in certain places. Yeah. What about you?
I watched Guardians today. I've watched maybe half of the Wednesday series, which is good. I wouldn't say necessarily great, but good enough to keep watching.
So, I saw the trailer for it. So, the premise is are they not at their home? They're she's at some sort of weird school or something.
Right. She got in trouble in normie school, so they decided to send her off to this boarding school for weird children.
We happen to have a school for freak shows.
Well, it's kind of it's like Harry Potter / Addams Family, because there's people with powers there. There's werewolves and some people with almost magical abilities.
Oh, so they're really leaning into the supernatural.
Right, and she has some psychic abilities herself. But there's also there've been some murders on campus, so there's a little bit of mystery and
ooh, I might have to watch it then.
Yeah, it's actually got interesting.
A lot of red herrings going on. But also it's also got this kind of like teen drama aspect, I guess.
Oh,
so it's kind of like
in Enola Holmes that I was talking about.
something. But yeah, it's got some different vibes going on, but not bad.
You're making it sound kind of like Riverdale.
Maybe it is.
I hope the writing is better.
I never watched Riverdale, but I was listening to a podcast of, like, people that watch it, and they said it got like really weird, where like the kids got superpowers and shit or something, and it's like Archie and Jughead, and like, you know.
Yeah, one of them basically becomes like Scarlet Witch at some point.
It's so weird, man.
Well,
I think it was like create like a spectacle so that people will come in every week just to watch. Like, what the hell?
Just make it as absurd as possible.
just a little more every week. Yeah,
because even the actors in the show were like, I don't know, man.
Sometimes it works in shows, but like, yeah, if it was just Archie and Jughead, maybe who gives a shit?
Yeah,
let's be frank, nobody.
You know, I was thinking about, you know, the Wednesday Addams thing, and like, it seems like, you know, having a recognizable like IP name is like really important. That's why they're making like so many, like, you know, shows and movies off of old shows and movies. But do you guys think like are there certain like old TV shows like you would actually like them to see them go back to, or that you're maybe surprised they haven't?
Gilligan's Island.
That is, when you think about, like, what would a modern day Gilligan's Island be?
I did watch a lot of Gilligan's Island, but yeah.
All right.
Who wouldn't kick the shit out of Thurston Howell like third and like the second week? You fucking uppity bitch.
I feel like these days it would be like a political commentary,
It's
like on
you
the
ain't got
Red.
shit here.
Yeah, who the fuck are you here?
You're nothing here.
I really liked. It's not that old, but I really liked Night Court. If they remade that, I would be down for that.
It's weird that Night Court was even like remotely entertaining.
Yeah, that is weird.
I feel like it was a weird thing for me to watch as a kid.
Yeah,
but I did.
How did it keep us entertained? I don't know. I don't remember much about it. It's like everybody was a character in one of those shows.
John
Larroquette
was like the playboy, like wild.
He was
guy.
like dirty. Yeah.
In retrospect, though, does he seem like a guy like a lot of women would want to fuck?
I don't know. He was a good-looking guy.
Okay,
but he was always trying to fuck the blonde lawyer, right? And she was always turning him down. He's like, I guess I'll have to go fuck Ross somewhere. You know?
There was I think the blonde lawyer was into the judge.
I think they did. Like they kind of toyed around with the relationship or something
like that.
Wasn't like before the blonde lady? Wasn't there like didn't she replace like another woman?
It could have been. I don't remember.
I think so, but that show ran for like quite a few seasons. It seems like.
Yeah. If they made that, I'd be down for it. That's a fun show.
You know what? One thing that I think would work is so my dad's a big fan of the old Wild Wild West like TV show, and that's what they based like the Will Smith movie on. I kind of think because so many people hated the Will Smith movie, maybe that's why they haven't gone back to it. But if you watch those, and I haven't watched a ton of them, but it's essentially like James Bond mixed with the Wild West. Like he's got his like partner that's kind of like Q that's always making like, you know, different contraptions and shit for him. And so I'm like, I think that could totally work, like a James Bond Western. Like I think you could repackage that.
Possibly. What about Kung Fu?
I mean, what was the plot of Kung Fu? He just wandered around and like
he was wandering around the West, but like his thing was like he didn't want to fight anybody, kind of like Samurai Jack, and then like people always start fights with him.
Now I have.
Hey there, quiet guy.
Oh, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I think they did recently do a reboot of Kung Fu, but now it's like a woman and she's like in the city or something.
Oh, I hadn't even heard of it.
What the fuck?
I think it might have been like a CW thing. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
Interesting.
Like it doesn't resemble the old show at all, except for name.
And it's trash.
I think the consensus was it was trash.
Man, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you felt like you had to learn Kung Fu. Like, the world is so dangerous, and there's always some biker gang looking to start something with somebody.
There were, like random gangs. You know? Like, this is a problem.
I mean, my first obsession was the Ninja Turtles, so right there, you would at least learn to be a ninja.
Is there's a Ninja Turtle coming out where they do the Last Ronin story?
Oh, the comic?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did do something like that where, like...
It's not out, is it?
I think it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think there have been even like video breakdowns of the comic.
Huh.
Yeah, I think the basic plot is like it's in the future and like all but one of the turtles is dead.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it is out.
There's a channel called Comic Storian. He covers a lot of those stories.
Yeah. Because what did it pass through the theaters or it's out? It just came out.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just a comic.
yeah, it's
book.
just a comic so far.
No, it's going to be a movie.
Oh,
I
that,
haven't heard
that I have not heard anything about.
Okay.
Where did you hear
Coming
this?
sometime in the future.
Did you hear this on a credible site, or was it just like a...
I think I saw like a trailer.
No. If it was just like a fan-made thing. No. Animated, or
I feel
what?
like there'd be a lot of hype for that.
No, it's
Yeah.
CGI.
No. I don't know what you saw. It had to have been like...
Well, I never read the comic, The Last Ronin, so I didn't make that up.
No, I mean, that's what I thought you were talking about, because that's the only context I've heard that in.
I don't think I've read any Ninja Turtle comics. No, that's not true. I have at some
Yeah,
point.
you did some of the early
Some of the new
IDW
ones.
stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't heard of a...
Well, I think it's coming, just so you know.
Okay. Maybe you had like a dream or something.
It would have to be like partly prophetic.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, as many like nerdy like podcasts and stuff I listen to, I would have thought that would have came across my algorithm somewhere.
I don't know.
I mean,
I think it's out there.
Who owns that
It's coming.
property? Is that Warner Brothers?
No, it's Paramount,
Oh, okay.
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see it get adapted into a movie. I haven't seen it. I haven't read the story or anything, but
Yeah,
I heard
me
it's really
neither.
good.
But I've read a lot of the other IDW Ninja Turtle comics, and it's a good series. It's really good. God, what else? You guys, I haven't watched much this week. I did watch the season finale of Andor. I thought,
Yeah.
I thought that ended nicely. It wrapped up nicely. You know, I'm definitely on board for, if like Tony Gilroy said is true, if they only do one more season, I'm certainly on board for it.
Yeah, I'd definitely. Yeah, hopefully there's more than that, but maybe it's just not getting enough traction. But no, it's been very good.
I assume like it did well enough for them that they'll do another season or finish it out. But I did hear that like their numbers weren't as good as like the other Star Wars properties, which I can understand, but I think it's good for them to have this kind of variety. Marvel, pay attention.
I mean, we talked about it last week, but I do hope they are paying attention.
Yeah. And then I started just last night. I started CSI Vegas season 2.
I thought I heard that music emanating from somewhere.
So, what is this, like people getting raped or something?
Just killed so far, but that does happen sometimes.
Actually, I don't know if we're allowed to say that word on YouTube.
Oh yeah, you probably shouldn't have. I think it does because even like I've watched Your Mom's House a lot, and they started bleeping that word.
Okay. R-worded.
Yeah, we probably. Well, the R word is something else.
I heard that. Well, I heard that R word, and I think the C word too, like causes troubles with the YouTube algorithm.
How do the English do?
I don't know. Maybe in certain contexts they allow it, but I'm sure their algorithm
It has an accent.
I'm sure their algorithm can't pick out
I mean, it probably could, but I wouldn't think they'd run that over every single video. It's too much.
Yeah, I don't.
That's a lot of computation.
But you know what though? Like these days, like when you upload a video, like it does do this thing where it says like checks completed, no issues found. And like, I don't know if that's more for like, I assume that's probably more for like a search for copyrighted material rather than bad words. But, it does give you that. It does filter, like everything that's uploaded, it does do some sort of check on.
Man, if they're doing a search for copyright material, that means there's a database of copyright material that they're checking against, right? That must be massive.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Like petabytes.
Especially if it's like both video and audio.
Like pictures and audio. Okay.
That'd be a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it takes so long to upload videos.
they might process it on the back end that much. It seems like it'd be a huge cost. Because I thought they'd pretty much just wait for people to hand them like copyright strikes or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah.
Well, that's another thing is too that I see a ton of videos that still have copyrighted material in them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck, people like post movies and stuff, and sometimes they'll get taken down.
Yeah, they don't get caught for a while.
I watch live sporting events on YouTube.
There's even like I listened to a Quentin Tarantino's podcast where they talk about like old movies, and like most of them are ones I've never even heard of, but a lot of times they'll say, this one's available on YouTube, and I think it's just because like it is a copyrighted material, but like so little people give a shit that like maybe after they put a spotlight on it, it gets taken down.
I watched one. It might have been because he talked about it. It's the Western with Marlon Brando. I forget what it's called, but it got in this weird limbo spot where it was like not copyrighted or something.
Oh, like some weird thing like that.
But yeah, it was something weird. But it was a good Western.
Yeah, I think certain. I think like a 20-year limit for copyrights. And so, like, if a movie's like a certain age, it's free to the public to use or something.
Well, I think this one just got passed around and it didn't get renewed on accident somehow or something weird, but yeah, it's like the only thing Brando directed and starred in, but it was good. Yeah, I've watched a couple videos on there, and then they have like shitty ones with ads and stuff like that. So occasionally, if you're desperate.
Doesn't like Stephen King do like some weird thing where like you can like for $1 like basically buy the rights to like make something out of one of his properties, but then like if you actually sell it, then he's going to make money off of it or something weird like that?
I hadn't heard of that. I would think it would be a decent strategy where you just allow like you get royalties off whatever people decide to do.
That's a great idea. I mean,
it seems like a solid strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of his shit does get made into really shitty movies.
Yeah. Some of his stuff I think will be revisited and maybe be more successful. But
I'm sure it will. I mean, look at it. It used to be a TV movie and then they redid it.
Yeah, the first It movie. I think I did watch it once upon a time, but
I think both times the It movies came out, people felt stronger about the first one than the second one. Like both times they liked the first one with the kids.
Oh yeah,
compared to the adults. With the
I was talking about like the original with the
Tim Curry
one. But yeah, the first one of the new two is definitely better.
That's the only one I saw.
Yeah.
Okay. The old one used to come on TV all the time.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I knew it existed, but I never watched it.
Like that scene. There's a scene in it where this girl comes to her father's house, who's kind of creepy, like with her.
Oh, yeah.
And like it just pretends to be this old woman and acts really creepy, and that stuck with me like ever since childhood. I was like, man, creepy old women just
creepy old women and clowns are out
like an old lady coming down the street and you just cross to the other side.
It's
it. And like that's like a trope in movies. They always use like this old woman to like be a creepy thing,
right?
Ugh. Chills down my spine.
Shit.
There was that movie Legion, where this old woman goes up to this pregnant like waitress, and she goes, your baby's gonna die or something like that, and like she like starts crawling on the walls.
Is it like a vampire movie or something?
No, it's like a biblical movie or something like.
I kind of remember like seeing the trailer for it, but I didn't know exactly what.
Yeah, that scene's in the trailer.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like if I did get scared easier, like maybe horror movies would be funner. But like the reason I watched like It Chapter 1 is because a lot of people online were saying, "Oh, it's so scary," and then I watched it. I was like, "This wasn't very scary."
I think as a kid, like it's frightening because you're like, you're a kid in an adult's world, so big old clown, he could mess you up real bad.
Yeah, but if you're a kid watching it, probably would be scary. But
yeah. I mean, I heard the casting was good for this. I didn't see the second one.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But I heard, like the adults played like the characters. The kids, like it seemed like a good continuation of the characters. I did see the breakdown of it. I watch all the breakdowns, all the scary movie.
I feel like you like know of a lot of scary movies, even if you haven't watched them.
I have like a vague recollection of many scary movies.
Like I can pick out a title, and you're like, I vaguely know what that's about.
I know enough for it to be ruined for me.
I know the twist.
Ugh.
What, like, do you have like a favorite horror movie, like one you've actually watched?
I think it's It Follows. That was just such a creepy movie.
Yeah, I definitely had those dreams a couple times.
Yeah.
Creepy ass. Follow your own dreams.
So well done. Like even the premise is crazy. Like it's silly, but just the way it's done, it's like, oh my god. I don't care how creepy this premise is. This just looks nuts, man.
Yeah. Now that one was pretty good.
Yeah. I would say that's my number one right now.
Gosh, I saw. Man, what was that one? We were talking about Midsummer. He directed that other movie.
Oh,
Hereditary.
Hereditary.
I saw that one
shit
too.
was creepy.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but I did see that one.
She like cut her own head off and shit. I was like, this is fucking creepy ass shit.
I saw the breakdown to that too. There's like a lot of nuanced stuff that goes into that movie.
There's a lot of psychological horror, and it's just like a feeling of like uneasiness, like the whole time. You're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
I always feel let down by the end of horror movies. Like that one was okay, and then I get to the end and I'm like, oh, it's just like this weird cult. Okay.
Well, they played it off as like psychological, then it was actually like supernatural at the end. So yeah, Midsummer is almost purely psychological, and it was creepy. Do you watch that one?
I saw the breakdown.
that one definitely had some creepy ass shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just like, it's weird. The weirdness factor it gets me. I like.
Speaking of,
was he have? Oh yeah, well, I was gonna say, did he have another movie coming? I don't remember.
I'm not sure. But you mentioned like good endings to movies, and I was like, Cabin in the Woods had like the most escalating, wild. That was an ending I really liked. I came out of nowhere.
I saw that movie and I don't remember the ending.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember the ending. I remember there's like so much random and crazy shit going on.
I mean, I remember like the twist in the middle, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing that kind of stands out about it, but I don't remember how it ended.
I mean, basically, everything goes south. Like, I'm pretty sure there's no survivors at the end of the movie.
That's right. Like they all escape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like it just escalates and escalates, and you get to the point where it's like these, what eldritch type gods and stuff, involved, and you're just like, oh my god, this is insane.
I mean, I admire that they at least like did something different with that movie, like went in a direction you wouldn't necessarily expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It takes a big turn. Yeah. That's probably like the end of the first act. It goes completely sideways.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a good idea.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was all about just your preconceived notions are just completely done over with. You're not going to get anything you expect.
Well, have we prolonged enough? Should we get into the stories?
Well, since we always start with movies, it sounds like Chris Hemsworth might only do one more Thor.
Well, I read a weird story. So he does this show on Disney Plus. I think it's called like Limitless or something.
Yeah, I just heard about that.
I saw that on there. And I don't have no idea what it is about.
He goes on like I think like different like I think it's almost like a travel show, and he does like different activities or whatever. But
the world's limitless if you have money.
Yeah.
But like apparently he found out like not that he has Alzheimer's, but like he has the gene that makes him more susceptible to it or something.
Yeah, he's got like 2 copies of this gene that make you very susceptible to having Alzheimer's.
And so apparently that just like he said made him want to spend like more time with his family or something just in case.
Right.
But I mean, my way of thinking is like, no, that means you should axe him more while you can.
I mean, he's got,
while you can remember your lines.
Yeah, I'm sure he has all the money he needs and more. But he also, I guess there was some comment he made like that he was done working with mad directors, which I assume is what's his name, Taika
Waititi.
Yeah.
He said called him a mad director.
Well, he said he was through working with mad directors, which I assume was a reference to him.
Yeah, I have no idea. I thought they got along.
Yeah, I thought he was very well liked.
So I don't know.
I thought I saw a thing today that said that Chris Hemsworth was cast in that Mad Max prequel, Furiosa.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't even know that was coming.
Apparently, I don't know if they're filming it yet, but I'm excited about that. I like Fury Road a lot.
Okay, prequel to Fury Road, not like prequel to Mad Max altogether.
Right. Just a prequel to Fury Road.
It's like a story of him just actually being a cop. It's like, oh, this is awful.
So he plays like Mad Max in this movie?
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if the character of Max is going to be in it because I think it centers around Furiosa. I think who's going to be played by that Anya Taylor-Joy. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Furiosa was played by Charlize Theron in Fury Road, so it's like the origin of her character.
Oh, she's a lot younger in this one. Well, I should.
My arm.
Right. Chris Hemsworth's going to be like one of those milking cow people.
Yeah, they should just have
He's
him
just like in a 30-second opening.
Yeah, nothing role. And then he dies terribly.
It'd be great if you could get nothing but those roles in like a ton of movies.
You get paid like $2 million to be in like 30 seconds of a movie.
I like how Mad Max is just like, this world is horrible and it's only getting worse.
It's just over the top crazy all the time. Yeah.
I feel like a Buddhist made that movie. You know, life sucks and it's suffering. That's what it is.
Bring back Mel Gibson. He's like 90 years old.
I feel like people would only watch it if you killed him horribly.
Maybe.
You put him and Kanye West in it.
The cleansing of the Jews. Oh.
Well, I think it was another like slow news week, but do you guys want to get into story time?
Let's do it.
I got nothing, so you better bring it.
Well, you better provide expert commentary.
Sound effects.
But anyway, for those that haven't watched or listened, we're going to go around the table. Everybody except Lazy Lester is going to bring a story from a wacky news story from around the globe, and we'll see if we can't just make something funny and or entertaining out of it. And as tradition dictates, AJ, we usually start with you. So what do you got for us?
All right, we're always covering Marvel properties and stuff on this show, so I figured we could cover a little bit of Marvel-related crime or crime busting. A number of suspected drug dealers found themselves on the wrong end of an encounter with a team of superheroes as police raided a house and arrested them dressed up as a variety of Marvel characters. 4 members of the police force in Peru struck upon the novel idea of dressing up as members of the Avengers to enter into the dangerous area of the capital, Lima, and make their arrests. So the alleged drug dealers were confronted with Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America, and Black Widow bashing down their door to get in. First of all, Captain America, you're in Peru. Couldn't you be Captain Peru or something?
Do you think Black Widow is a man or a woman?
That's what I was wondering. Right. It's ugly Black Widow.
It's like, Ronaldo, you have that juicy booty.
It's not black enough in here, Black Widow. To be fair, at least one of them carries a large hammer with them, so the tools were there.
It's like plastic, though.
Yeah, right. The idea was that the members of the special Peruvian police force would dress up in their fancy dress costumes in the hope of convincing the public that they were advertising for a Halloween concert. However, it was actually all part of an operation that was aptly titled Marvel and was aimed at bringing drug dealers to justice.
They all got machine guns.
So the four police
Test your spider sense.
Yeah, I bet they didn't use their superpowers to bring them. So the four police officers got their costumes on and walked down the road in San Juan de Lurigancho on Saturday, and nobody batted an eyelid. Then they produced their special equipment and broke down a steel door, gaining entry into the property. At that stage, 10 other police officers entered the building and made 4 arrests, taking 3 men and a woman into custody. This seems like shoddy work, though. Like, you got 10 other guys who aren't dressed up as the Avengers or as mutants or anything.
Those 4 are just to rub salt in the wound.
Thor just comes by and like hits a handcuffed guy with his plastic hammer, like right in the
Police
head.
brutality. At the beginning, police claimed that the people inside the building thought that the whole thing was some sort of Halloween joke. Well, yeah, probably.
Then they started to shoot us. And we got something's up here.
There's a serious side to this because they did find a number of types of drugs in the house, which could have been moved on and sold to the local community. Police Colonel David Villanueva said, in this building, an entire family was dedicating themselves to micro-commercialization of drugs. The drugs were going to be sold in a park nearby. They arrested 4 people dressed up in Marvel get-ups, well, at least they're off the streets now. In the house, the police discovered 3,250 small packages containing cocaine paste, which is a basis extract of the coca leaf, and 287 bags of cocaine, as well as 127 bags of marijuana. I think the marijuana is fine. So, not an insignificant amount then. According to reports, a kilogram of cocaine paste can sell for around $380 in Peru, with the more refined and purest version of the drug, cocaine hydrochloride, fetching around $1,000. Well, guys, next time you see the Avengers and you got drugs on you, run.
It's a raid.
Yeah. Spider-Man might be coming for your baggie.
I thought I saw a story recently. I want to say it was like India, but like all this marijuana disappeared from like their evidence room. And they're like, the rats ate it.
It must have been the rats. Yeah, I imagine like evidence lockers, like with all these drugs,
it's free
like,
for all.
Yeah, we don't hear about it, but I'm sure like half that stuff goes missing.
Yeah, probably straight back on the street.
Yeah.
The evidence like lock or security guard, he's just like smoking reefer all day. And he's like, I
could do this job every day for the rest of my life.
Some people are going to start applying.
Yeah, right.
I'm all for this though. I think they should start like these superhero like raids all the time.
This could go wrong so fast.
I know.
You see like bodies of Spider-Man and Thor in a shootout, and you're like, oh no.
Well, that's the thing. If Spider-Man breaks into your home and you shoot him, you'd be like, if you say, well, I didn't know it was a cop.
Right? Yeah.
So some fucking crackhead dressed like Spider-Man.
That is true. Like, what if this raid went horribly?
You have Disney like
They're all
paying off
dead.
millions to like not have this in the newspaper.
Yeah, the 9 o'clock news. Spider-Man, Thor, and
Captain
we're
America.
gunned down in line of duty.
Because an international
not be
incident with
getting up.
Captain America.
Yeah. What was he doing there?
In an alternate universe, they had no powers.
Silliness.
Yeah. That was a special forces unit in Peru, by the way.
You think those guys had like fucked up the week before, and the captain was like, "Hey, you're gonna be Spider-Man."
I wish
No, you're going to be Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow.
Short straws, Black Widow.
Oh, man.
Who'd be like the most demeaning superhero? You're mad reader, lad. Oh yeah, Hawkeye.
It's just a guy with bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, my neck. That one hurt.
Hawkeye is almost worse than Black Widow. Oh man. Well, I just got this story today that I thought was a little bit grim. Little nursing home of horrors. Nurse chopped off man's foot without his consent. Forced amputation is something you'd only expect to see in horror movies, but the horrifying concept turned into reality at a Wisconsin nursing home. A nurse at Spring Valley Health and Rehab Center stands accused of cutting off a resident man's foot. According to media reports, the man never consented to the operation and died shortly afterward. But that's not the worst part. The whole story gets worse once you learn what the nurse planned to do with the severed foot. Witnesses claim Mary K. Brown, 38, placed the foot in a freezer after removing it. Brown allegedly intended to have the limb preserved at her family's taxidermy shop and use it to scare children into wearing their winter boots.
What? You guys seen Arrested Development?
How cool!
There's a guy who's missing an arm or something.
They're like, the guy died, but that's not the worst part. The worst part was she was going to use his foot to scare children.
Well, like, wear your boots.
The worst part is he died.
That is kind of true. But just the idea of like, kids, if you don't wear your boots, you're gonna get like hypothermia and you're gonna lose your fucking
And she straight up murdered a man for that foot to teach that lesson.
Brown allegedly intended to have the limb preserved at the taxidermy shop. That sounds like the kind of thing a responsible professional nurse would do. I guess that sentence was ironic. The 62-year-old resident arrived at the nursing home in March of 2022. Even at the time he arrived, he was not in great condition. The man who had been living alone had fallen in his home and been unable to get up. It's unknown how long he spent on the floor, but it must have been a considerable amount of time. We're saying that because by the time he was discovered, his foot was dead. The heat in his home had been turned off, so his foot had succumbed to frostbite and became necrotic. Yeah, like...
Okay, so it's a bad foot.
It is, but like, if you're just like not actually outside exposed to the elements, but in a house with no heat, like, how long do you think it would take for a frostbite to set in?
Why just his foot?
Maybe the rest of him had clothes on, and maybe.
I don't know. It's something that can take some time.
So, in all honesty, the foot was never going to make it and would have needed amputation, but not like this. So the man was admitted to the nursing home in March, but for some reason the nursing home decided to do absolutely nothing about the dead foot. The necrosis only kept advancing and eating away at his flesh. According to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, by late May, the man's foot was hanging on by a single tendon and a 2-inch thick strip of skin.
Yeah.
The weird thing, so like... Why isn't this man in a regular hospital, first of all, rather than this nursing home?
Right, you'd think you'd have to send him to a hospital to see a surgeon.
And how can they see his foot in this kind of condition and be like, Oh no, he doesn't need to go to the hospital right
They're
away.
like, we can get 3 more monthly checks out of this guy.
I bet that's exactly what they were thinking. The extreme necrosis was also causing him other problems. An inspection report noted that he was so delirious and incoherent that he couldn't even take his morphine painkillers. Not only that, he had managed to fall from his bed shortly before his foot was cut off. In the incident, he injured the already dead foot even further. Despite that, one nurse noted that the man was able to wiggle his toes. That was on the morning of May 27th. And that would be the last wiggle the man's toes did. Later that day, Brown would cut off the foot for good. According to a criminal complaint, Brown told of her plan to remove the man's foot to 2 other nurses. By her own admission, she knew she wasn't qualified or authorized to carry out the procedure, but she insisted on doing it for the man's comfort. I mean,
if I was looking at it every day, I'd probably be thinking about cutting that son of a bitch off too.
but the other thing, she told these other nurses, and they don't fucking do shit. They're just like, okay, this crazy bitch is going to cut this guy's foot off, even though she doesn't know how.
I mean, if it's just hanging on by a tendon, I bet they're thinking, like, how bad could she really mess it up at this point, right?
Oh, the other nurses didn't do nothing. The other nurses told Brown off and asked her to leave the foot attached.
Oh, okay.
Don't you do it. Shortly afterward, Brown and 2 other nursing assistants entered the man's room to change his bandages. But instead of doing her supposed duty, Brown produced a pair of bandage scissors. Using them, she cut through the skin and tendon, severing the man's foot. One of the nurses present said that the man didn't appear to mind or necessarily even notice having the foot chopped off. This contradicts the account of another nurse who said the man told him that he felt everything and it hurt very bad. After the amputation, Brown placed the foot into a biohazard bag and stuffed it in a freezer, but she wasn't planning to leave it there. Testimony from one nursing assistant claims that Brown asked her to retrieve the foot so she could take it to her family's taxidermy shop. She wanted to get it preserved and place it on display with a sign reading, "Wear your boots, kids." God. The man passed away within a few days of the amputation. At the moment, there's no official indication that removing the foot hastened his death. But, what? Of course it did. But nurses say his condition deteriorated rapidly after the procedure. Fortunately, Brown's sick plan never came to fruition, though no thanks to swift action. It took 2 days before one of the nursing assistants present at the amputation informed Tracy Wrights, the nursing home's director, about what had happened. The nursing home informed the authorities finally a week later, but it was an anonymous tip-off that launched an investigation into the nursing home. As it turns out, the nursing home has an impressive list of safety and regulation violations. Surprise, surprise. Not only has the amputation incident resulted in citations for 5 different reporting and healthcare infractions, the nursing home has a long history of other violations as well, including a failure to report and investigate a sexual assault and a patient's head injury after falling from a wheelchair. For many of the federal felony violations, the maximum penalties include $100,000 fines and up to 40 years in prison. But it's just crazy that, like, you know, first of all, like we were saying, like, that he didn't go straight to a hospital, that he ended up there, that they didn't forward him to a hospital, that this crazy ass nurse, like, you know, told the other nurses and they, like, didn't take more severe action, you know, and then she actually did it and then the guy, like, dies. It's just like, it seemed like failure after failure.
Yeah, a lot of bad decisions.
And I have to assume, just like you said, it was more of like them being like, oh, we can get more money out of this guy the longer he stays here.
Yeah, he should have been reported and sent to a real hospital, apparently.
Of course, I don't know. Like, how much money do you think this guy had? The fact that he, like, you know, fell in his apartment and was just, like, freezing to death there for however long.
Yeah.
That didn't have heat, you know. I can't assume this guy was a moneybags.
Well, it could have been state money.
The question
Possibly.
is, like, how did he end up in the nursing home? Like, so he was found in his apartment.
I mean, yeah, you wouldn't think you'd go to a nursing home. It seemed like you would go straight to a hospital.
Yeah. That's the other thing I don't get. Like, who found him? Like, and you know, you'd think the immediate thing would be like, oh, this guy needs a hospital. Let's call an ambulance or whatever. Like, how did he even end up in the nursing home? That's what I want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of bad decisions. He shouldn't have been in a nursing home. I don't know.
But
he was 62?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
Man, he was young.
Yeah, that's not even that old.
This guy had some bad genes or something. I don't know.
I mean, the fact that he like fell down and like wasn't even physically able to like get to a phone or like call out for help, or I don't know.
62.
There might have been other things wrong with him.
Yeah. I've seen bodybuilders at 62.
The fact that her plan was like, I'm going to take that foot and like use it to scare children into wearing their boots, though. That is the psychotic thing.
So that reminds me, in Arrested Development, there was a character that who was missing a hand, and the father, Jeffrey Tambor, he would always have that guy teach his kids a lesson. So like, let's say they didn't put milk in the fridge, like they forgot to put a sign saying we're out of milk or something. There'd be some drawn out crazy lesson at the end. This guy would be like, oh, and they'd be like, and that's why you put a sign saying there's no more milk in the fridge. So it sounds like this lady got her lessons from that show.
Well, guys, should we review the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special?
Let's do it.
All right. I mean, I don't know if we have to go into detail on this one as much as
There's
we
not a ton to review.
do other stuff. Before we do any spoilers, I guess what was your guys' just kind of impression of it?
It was just a fun little silly family type show, 30-minute special. It was cute. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same where like it was fun enough, but like it felt totally inconsequential, which I guess maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Right, yeah. But yeah, it's not something that I don't think it was fun enough that it's something I would ever like revisit. It's not like another Christmas is going to come along and I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to watch the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's not like an annual Christmas show where you just watch it every year with the kids or something.
Right. Is that how you felt too? As it was like,
yeah, it was all right.
Okay, yeah, let's. Who cares? Let's get into spoilers. It was only a 45-minute show, so whatever. I mean, first of all, I have some questions for you guys. So it's been a minute since I watched Guardians Volume 2.
Yeah.
She said. So Mantis like mentions that like Ego was also her father, and she was like leery of telling Star-Lord that. Did they set that up in that movie? Because I honestly couldn't remember.
I remember that being so.
I thought she was more like an assistant. I didn't realize she was one of his children.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought too. I didn't realize that she was one of his children. And then also, like, she mentions, I think that they like bought Nowhere from the Collector. Was that set up in a prior movie?
I didn't even catch that part.
Yeah, I thought the Collector was dead. I don't know.
I believe there was she had a line where she mentioned like somehow they actually bought Nowhere from the Collector.
Yeah, that's the dog.
No, that's Cosmo.
But he escaped when the Collector got blown up or whatever.
The Collector was Benicio del Toro's character.
But the dog was in his Collector.
Yeah, he was in one of those glass cages.
Yeah.
So here's like a little Easter egg. Was that on Adventure Time, Lady Rainicorn? Is that the same voice for the dog?
Oh.
I mean, I don't watch Adventure Time, so I wouldn't know.
Because it's got like some kind of like voice box thing that lets it talk.
In the video game, it was a male voice, so this is the one they changed it up into like a female, like Russian voice.
Was it Russian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Lady Rainicorn is like Japanese, I think.
I think it's supposed to be that dog. What was that dog's name that they sent into space, like in the 50s or whatever?
Yeah, I think it is supposed to be like a take on that. Yeah. This dog's name is Cosmo. I don't. Okay. Oh, maybe like Cosmonaut. Maybe.
It could be something like that. Yeah.
But anyway, we start off with like an animated intro where like.
Oh man, that animated intro threw me off. I was like, is this whole thing gonna be like Lord of the Rings cartoon looking.
Well, I knew from the previews it wasn't going to be, but I did wonder, like, how long is this going to last?
Part of me was like, why didn't they just shoot this instead of animating it? But I guess,
well,
it's a flashback, so I guess you can kind of.
That would have cost more money. Plus, it's like, I don't know, you gotta find a kid and and like you got to put Yondu in all his makeup again. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, they just had this little intro with him, Star-Lord, as a kid, and he's with Sean Gunn's brother. I forget what that character's name is. And he's teaching him Christmas, and then Yondu comes in and he's like, "What's all the?" He's like the Scrooge, you know. He's like, "What's all this shit?" And he like, you know, kicks the tree, and like he's like, "This is bullshit" or whatever. And then so it goes to present day, and we find out like Mantis was telling that story, and she's like, she can tell Star-Lord's like really down, so she wants to like cheer him up, and the Sean Gunn's character says that apparently there's like this what does he say? There's like a calendar that tells him like that on Earth it's almost Christmas or something. They have like this universal calendar or some weird bullshit. And so yeah. Now again, another question I had is she mentions like, oh, he's really down because like he misses Gamora. Now, at the end of Endgame, like, you know, the first Gamora died, but then don't they get like another Gamora from the time stream, like an earlier version?
Yeah.
Like, where's she?
Well, I mean, it's understandable to me because like she doesn't really know them like the old Gamora did. So
right.
She's like
she
probably just doing her own thing out there.
Yeah. She needed him in the nuts and like disappeared into the universe. Pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, did she? Oh, I was thinking that like at the end of Endgame, like
She was at the funeral.
yeah, I was thinking
Tony
she was still like with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like Thor: Love and Thunder, like the Guardians were there and she wasn't there. Now she wasn't there, and so I'm like, I just don't know what the status of that character is.
Yeah, I kind of assume she just peeled off.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. That's what I imagine the next story is gonna be.
Yeah, I
like,
assume Guardians 3 will have to loop her in, probably get her memories back by the end of the movie or something. I mean, I don't remember all it seemed like there was like some funny dialogue between Drax and Mantis, where like he has that whole thing of like telling her like she ate all the nuts or whatever.
Oh yeah, Zagnuts. Or
yeah, and then eventually like she goes off on him.
Nobody cares about the Zagnuts.
Yeah. But anyway, her plan is to go to Earth and kidnap Kevin Bacon, who she's under the impression is like this huge hero because of the way Star-Lord talks about him. So they go to Earth, and I thought this was weird. So like they have this bit where like they first fly in, and like these people are looking at the spaceship and freaking out, and so like she's like, "You did like turn on the cloak or whatever." And he's like, "Of course." And then you know he forgot and he goes and does it. But like the Earthlings, they've seen spaceships, they've seen aliens. You know, would they really be? I mean, they would be like, "Oh, a spaceship," but they wouldn't be all freaked out. Like they know this shit exists, right?
I think they do.
I mean, I'd be freaked out. Like every time they see an Earth, like a spaceship, something bad happens, right? Like the.
I mean, I don't know.
The invasion and then Endgame.
There's some of that, but it seems like. I don't know, like the Wakandans have spacecrafts, and it seems like, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. has spacecrafts. It seems like they wouldn't always be freaked out the first thing they saw one, but maybe, I don't know.
That giant flying battleship thing.
The helicarrier. Yeah, I'd be more freaked out to see the helicarrier.
Like, this defies physics.
They have this whole bit where they go down like the street where there's like other like superhero like cosplayer like people you can pay to have your photograph with. Oh, another thing is like Mantis like saw the Captain America guy. She's like, "Steve!" Like, did she not know that Captain America like left or whatever?
We all look the same to her.
So, they for some reason end up going to a gay bar and getting really drunk.
Yeah.
That was just kind of a throwaway.
It's not a Christmas party. Sure.
They end up finding Kevin Bacon's house, and they have this whole thing where the police show up and like she puts him to sleep with her power, and like Drax like tips one of the cars over. I mean, again, they had some funny dialogue with Drax like wanting like the Christmas elf thing.
Right.
And wanting to go back for it.
Yeah, it's cute. I liked how they expanded on Mantis's like personality. You know, like
she's coming out of her shell a little bit.
Yeah. She had a lot of funny moments.
Yeah, and also her powers. Like I thought they were lame at first, but after seeing her like basically being able to convince anybody to do anything, I was like, okay, pretty cool.
Yeah, and then once they get Kevin Bacon on board and they're taking him back, like they find out that he's just an actor, and they're like, and like Drax is like, "Oh, we hate you now."
And they're all actors. It's funny.
Even at the end, like when they like him, and like Nebula's like, "Oh, I guess not all actors are total pieces of shit." Oh, I did skip over at the beginning. Like, there's that alien band that, like...
Oh, right.
That was kind of drawn out.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, too. Like, I guess it was an entertaining song, but at the same time, like, what lore did they read that they came up with those lyrics? Yeah,
that's pretty intricate, like, lore. It's
I know.
Almost right, too, on everything.
So then they get there and they kind of like, throw the Christmas surprise for Star-Lord and turn on all the Christmas lights. And then Groot wheels out the present that is Kevin Bacon. And at first, like, Star-Lord's like freaked out and he finds out that Mantis used her powers on him. So she takes off like her powers, and then Kevin Bacon's like freaking out. And then he's about to leave, but then like Sean Gunn like tells him about how Star-Lord was down and they were trying to like bring him the meaning of Christmas or whatever. So then Kevin Bacon, I guess, like he's musical too. I guess in real life he does have a band, doesn't he? The Bacon Brothers or whatever.
Bacon Brothers.
So he starts singing some Christmas song and they're all exchanging gifts. You know what I thought was a weird bit? Is like a lot of them get these presents that are like these little like claymation like diagrams of like things that already happened in this Christmas special, and I'm like,
and that were currently happening as well.
I was like, who made these and how did they know?
That's the greatest power of all.
Well, I think didn't Groot give them all those? I'm assuming it was a Groot present.
Maybe, but it was nonsense. I'm trying to think. I remember like Nebula gave Rocket the Winter Soldier's arm.
Oh, right.
And I kind of forget. There was a couple
Cosmo
other...
gave that guy a dead rat.
Oh, yeah. That bit was actually kind of funny.
Cute, yeah.
Groot got a Game Boy.
Oh, yeah. So I guess after that, like Kevin Bacon says his goodbyes or whatever, and he leaves, I think.
Mantis reveals to Peter Quill that she's his sister.
That's right. And he's
That's
like,
the big Christmas
that's
reveal.
the best present ever.
Yeah.
And he tells him how the story of Yondu ruining Christmas actually ended, and so they have another animated part where like Yondu found the Christmas present that was meant for him, which was that like little troll doll from the first movie or whatever. And then he gave Star-Lord the present of his element guns. And everyone lived happily ever after, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, my overall thoughts was it was fine. Probably nothing I would ever revisit, but it was fine. It was like, I don't know, 7 out of 10 maybe.
So, why didn't Mantis lose her powers when Ego died?
I mean, was his? Did
maybe her mom had powers.
Well, again, it's been a minute.
He hinted that he lost his powers when Ego died.
Who did?
Peter Quill.
Star-Lord.
I need to watch Guardians 2 again. I mean, but what was his powers really?
Like he could like create stuff like a god.
Yeah.
Like he had Ego's powers.
He could manipulate matter and stuff.
I guess I need to watch that again. But I mean, he didn't have those until he interacted with Ego.
Right.
Well, he had the power to like hold the stone in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Well, I thought just the fact that he was half whatever he is.
Yeah.
Celestial.
Made him. So you think after Ego died, he became basically completely like human, or
It seems like he was trying to use it and he couldn't use it or something. It seems like there was some scene like that.
so? Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't even know that Mantis was technically like one of his kids. So
Yeah, they like to bust out little things like that just to spice things up. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, you'd think based on her looks and power, like her mother had to be
yeah, something I guess. Yeah.
an empath too, probably. I don't know.
A freaking mantis. A celestial banged a mantis. And that's what happened.
That dude fucked everything in the galaxy.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking forward to this more than the Werewolf by Night one, but I think the Werewolf by Night one was actually better.
Yeah,
I think so
definitely.
too. But I like these little holiday specials. It's fun.
Yeah, they could keep these going. What should they do for an Easter special? Is there any characters that make sense?
Adam Warlock.
I mean, he is going to be like in the third Guardians movie.
Oh yeah, they did say something about being back for Easter, right?
Oh yeah, there was like that little post credit scene.
And they do call him Space Jesus. Who knows?
Oh yeah, Warlock. They do, don't they?
We'll see.
What would you
think
guys?
we'd already know about that if they're doing something for
What would you guys rate this?
Like a 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah, maybe a 6.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. Well, we are over the hour mark. You guys got anything else you want to talk about before we?
Nothing.
Good.
This was one of those shows where I'm like, man, I wish I had like something juicier going into it. But some weeks this is just what it is. But we still had fun, and we hope everybody listening along had fun. This is usually where we plug Twitter. Do you guys? Everyone seems to be like making like profiles on this new Hive format. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
Apparently, like it's like another social media platform that's only run by like a couple like people, like a very small operation. But I'm like, how did people like then like even hear about this and like?
Yeah, who knows?
But I still notice like all these people that are like, like they're on Twitter posting like, oh, I made a Hive thing, but then they keep posting to Twitter. So it's like, I'm guessing it's not like great yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you guys will, please subscribe to the both the YouTube channel and to the podcast in audio form on your podcast service of choice. Leave us thumbs up, comments. We like hearing from you guys. Positive reviews, and while Twitter is still around, why not come and visit us, guys? Where can people find you on the Twitter?
At a name for this 2, and that's the number 2.
At unsolicited SUG.
And you can of course find me at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive, and that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Yeah, have a good one.